The number one reason why they will never cut Social Security. You heard it here first from your old buddy Josh. Finney, don't. Oh my goodness, he's getting into. Oh boy. So let's look at this. So I got an email from a man. Man, I put on some weight over Christmas. I put on like 6-7 pounds. Look at that fat. Ugh. Well, it's from muscle growth. No. Anyway, so I got to work on that. I got to hit the treadmill when I'm done here. It's too raining outside to do any walking. All right, so Finney wants to get wet apparently, so we'll let him out. I'll show you guys. Old Finnegan here. Hold on a second. If I can make my... There we go. There he is. What do you say, Finney? What do you say? He wants to chase ghosts, I guess. All right. So I'm just mind my own business. I get an email from my man Brian Westbury over at FT Portfolios. And what does Brian Westbury say? He says, fourth quarter GDP, initial, because we always know it's revised downward. They're doing some shenanigans over there at the BLS and whatnot. But either way, real GDP increased at 3.3% annualized in Q4, easily beating consensus expected at 2.0. Real is net of inflation. So that's real growth in the economy, net of inflation. All right, now check this out. The largest positive contribution to real GDP growth in Q4 came from personal consumption. Personal consumption, business fixed investment, and home building combined rose at a 2.6% annualized rate in Q4. We refer to that as core GDP. The GDP price index increased at 1.5% annualized in Q4 and is up 2.6% from a year ago. Nominal GDP, that's before inflation, or with inflation, you should say, real GDP plus inflation, rose at 4.8% and is up 5.8% from a year ago. That's, again, all we really care about is net of inflation, but be that as it may. But I want to show you something here. Real GDP, Q4, 3.3%. How much of that was attributed to PCE? 2.8%. Look at that, 2.8%. And then if we go here, contributions to growth, nothing even comes close than real GDP. I mean, look at that. Nothing even comes close to GDP than personal consumption expenditures. Nothing. Look at that. I mean, you add these guys up. Let's add these guys up. You ready? We got 1.9 plus 0.3, right? Yes, sir. Plus 0.1, yes, sir. Plus 0.6, plus, what do we got? 0.4. What does that give us? That gives us 3.3. So look at that. Nothing comes close. 2.8% was a rise in this guy at PCE. 2.8%, of which the entirety GDP, 3.3. 1.9 of that came from one source, personal consumption expenditures. 57% in this quarter was from PCE. 57%. All right, so now we got, over the course of the last 4 quarters, we got real GDP was up 3.1. And personal consumption expenditures was up 1.8, was 1.8. Oops, 1.8, excuse me, divided by 3.1, 58%. Personal consumption expenditures, what you spend your money on, account for well above half of GDP. So what would happen to PCE if they just said, we're going to slice 20% from your Social Security check? Remember, 66 million people are on Social Security. What would happen to personal consumption expenditures if instead of you having $100 to spend, now you got 80 bucks? And 66 million people had 80 bucks instead of 100. What does that do to growth, economic output, GDP? We're talking a decline like we've never seen in the United States. That's worse than the Great Depression. 66 million people rely on Social Security for some form of their income. If you took 20% of that away, the PCE numbers would drop like a brick in water. What would happen to GDP? We'd be talking massive recession. Massive. Depression at that stage. Because not only that, people say, I don't have the money to buy new stuff. I'm just going to buy what I can for what I need. I'm not growing the economy. I'm going to start hoarding. Exactly what happened in Japan. I mean, I'm not saying their personal consumption expenditures stop, but when people stop spending, growth stops. It's just a fact. Frankly, I don't know if that's the worst thing that ever happened. Deflation doesn't necessarily mean it has to be depressionary. But if we're talking a massive cutback in terms of personal consumption expenditures, that is depression. That's bad. But the prices went down. Yeah, good luck getting your eggs and all that stuff there, guy. You know what I'm saying? Good luck. But the prices were lower. Why do you think the FDR administration wanted farmers to plow over their crops? To create more scarcity, to create a price increase. That's why they did it. It wasn't like people were freaking living high in the hog. People were starving, yet they wanted us to plow farms and stuff like that, so we had less food available. That way the prices went up. Less supply, increase or more demand, makes your prices go up. Isn't that crazy? If we had a 20% cut to national income, it'd be a depression like you've never seen. And no one's getting reelected. There'd be revolution on the streets. And I mean, but people argue all the time, but man, maybe that's what we need. You fools don't know what the hell you're talking about. You want to have a revolution like that? No. I'm telling you, man, that's why Social Security never get cut, because they can't afford it. Certainly what would get cut first would be war funding to Ukraine and Israel and all this crap. You know what I'm saying? Not Social Security, because then the economy just tanks. No economic output, no economic growth, no politicians get reelected, and the economy just shuts down. And the whole world will suffer. I mean, China's going through this kind of right now, too. It's actually interesting. I was just reading an article. It's almost verbatim Japan. You know, people are saying, I'm hoarding money. I don't want to spend. I don't care what the interest rates are. I'm going to hoard money. I don't want to spend. They already have a high enough savings rate that it hurts their economy, economic growth, because people are saving more. They're like, you can lower the rates down to zero. Even pay me. I'm not borrowing any money. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, that's why Social Security never get cut in a heartbeat right there. So ask people, they're going to cut Social Security. Ask, what would happen to the economy if they did that? And then finally ask, if they cut Social Security, what would happen to your stocks? And this is one of the things that always frustrates me. I'm not going to rely on Social Security in my retirement plan. What are you going to do for health care? I'm going to do Medicare. Interesting. Why aren't you going to rely on Social Security? Because they're going to cut it if it's even there outright. What happens to stocks when that happens? You ever thought about that there, guy? All these people all of a sudden have no income from Social Security. What do you think they do to their portfolios? Oh, there's a massive sucking sound south that they're selling. So you can rely on stocks that are now down, 30, 40, 50%, 80% a la in the Great Depression. Okay, that's really going to work there. No, but Social Security won't be there, but Medicare will, and the stock market will just keep doing, because the stock market always average 8% a year, don't you know, net of inflation. I would not worry about it in the least. Love your thoughts. God bless.